hits him, takes him off his legs.
Hello.
Reginocio turns for the back door as well. Read this fight well, Blank, but he's been peeked from the window, takes half HP off him. Just waiting now on the off angle. Tries to back nade whilst his teammates are fighting tooth and nail. Nade's going down. Who else wants a piece of this fight?
What is this? There's 3 teams on the same compound. Regioso sends out the side into the vehicle to get himself some better angles. He's fighting for his life at this point in time. Spec moves in. Hoxie's half HP and Regioso's out on the edge. Surely he spots Junie, but he doesn't inside the smoke. And now Duckshan have another battle to get through. Need to get more players back up on their feet, but they're falling so quickly. Just Hoxie and Junie left alive. Junie, a veteran of these high-scale tournaments, but Nasa move in at the best opportune time. Will pick themselves up 9 eliminations off the back of this bad boy. Two players left alive, but on the southern edge, this is pretty decent stuff.
Okay. That was an intense fight. That one was a lot easier. That's a slay down there, as we see both of Alter Ego's last remaining members quickly packed up and swept away. Beautiful fight though in the compound, man. Even in the way that Tokyo tried to play it with rejects bouncing back and forth, right? We saw OCO, smart heads up plays at least. Even though they go down in the fight, you could see the gun skill, the mechanics there were out in full force. Nice intense compound crash though leads us into the rest of the game as FaZe again continue applying pressure. Chow's been overwhelmed, gets bitten to pieces. It's actually Evos are able to steal away the final tag onto that. So getting the extra elim for their troubles. Para Jin though will be put down in the ground as he's picked off by FaZe. Now starting to make their move into the center, getting themselves closer and closer and just trying to play off whatever geometry will actually provide some sort of protection for them. And Torres, suspicious about the smokes as well, knows that there could be someone lurking, waiting to peek. And he's got contact on Star. Quick flick there, hits the head blank and shuts the man down.
Yeah, very nice little shot there and pick up from FaZe. This is a really difficult area of the map to play, honestly. You see a lot of teams play this one out. You realistically just have the tower here. There's a slight dip as we head down. It's almost unnoticeable, but it does give FaZe a significant advantage, in which case they can take shots over towards DXavier. The difficulty is the fact that so much of the western side of the circle is still in play here, that Pasija Evos have a massive advantage. Despite that, FaZe is not letting that up. And it's so surprising we're not seeing Pasija Evos take a little quick peek over towards this eastern side. See if they can pick themselves up some more eliminations. Right now, they're currently running on 12, placement point 16 elims. This is a game where you want to pump those elims up, even if it means you get yourself a second place. But I can see why they wouldn't want to give up the gas station here. But maybe just letting one player out on the loose, you know, sending to the side, find a quick pot shot over towards FaZe, because currently it's a 4-player team. They have a chance to try and take down Pasija Evos in the endgame.
Big chances. Definitely
there it is.
Open opportunity for this one. The swing into the favor of Evos now, though. Nice first tag down the hill. Connection across, DX suffering from it as Luxy will be able to spray his way in. Gets the tap off that we needed to see. So the compound control still firmly in their favor, and they're starting to clear out the players that were edging closer towards them. FaZe, meanwhile, still down towards the ridge side. Mormon and Malaya playing together as they start to make their move up. Close on in. You've got a couple of angles of connection here as well. Spec being one of them as he's firing off the warning shots. And then, for Udo Alliance, there's actually a bit of a chance here to just be a fawn in the side. If you're not cleared, you're so far back down towards the ridge. As FaZe come pushing up, you could try and get stuck into it, especially if the timing works for the push down from Spec and they draw his attention. Lots of small nuances on this one, but the big focal point is just the fact that Evos are in a great position to try and command the game. Ooh, rough recovery mission there.
Very much so. Chloe just goes down. Link's fine spec as he makes a rotate through. PUBGM Evo's now up to 5 eliminations, looking for a little bit more. And they have to push for more here because, you know, a 5 elimination game with a chicken dinner, it's all right. 15 elims, 15 points, sorry, total is decent. But, you know, pumping that as hard as you can here. They know they want more points. It's a very good initial nade that's sent out, but FaZe is on the back line. They're not looking to give this game up. Another amazing nade on the predict over towards G-Fan, and Redface is just sending these over and over again. Another one will take down GK first. Now just FSS left alive. And it will be Redface to stand out for this one. One knock goes over towards Luxy with the 5 eliminations on board. Nade sent over the top over towards FaZe. One of the final teams alongside with Olio over on UDO Alliance, looking for that second place placement point steal.
Evos, this is where you've just got to shut things down, close it out, don't let mistakes start to get out of hand. FaZe fighting tooth and nail though, bombarding down onto Misery, who's forced to hit the deck, so belly down to the ground, drops himself into the vehicle and tries to drive out of there, keep himself safe, susceptible to the shots though, but goes for the getaway. If we can see the res, FaZe will at least have a fair fight in the 2v2 in terms of the players that are currently up, but Evos are going for their recovery as well. They want to grab Link, have some additional numbers in this battle to play with. Quick pop heal as well. Nice peek up. Beautiful damage done with the AR. Switches to the DBS and wants to go full frontal blank. He's getting in their faces.
What is going on? Already we see another knock come through with the DBS. Misery left alive and he's taking damage here and there, able to clutch it out. But UDO Alliance, they're still in the wings here, Jackie.
Oh, skirting around the outside. Is there anything that can be done? They're low. Now would be the time to strike whilst the players are down. They're knocked. They're on their last legs. Doesn't have the full list of information that we do, though, so his decision-making will be affected by this. And this just gives more time to Evos to try and reset things. Redface now back up. He's just going to be watching, looking for the peek over. Gets the heal in as well. The longer this goes on, the more numbers you're going to have to fight against. So UDO Alliance, the chance of this one being clutched now far harder. Again, falling into a position where this should be a guaranteed chicken dinner for Evos.
Man, that could have been a chicken dinner there for UDO Alliance, and Olio just need a little bit more confidence to try and go in and bruise the pride there of PUBGM Evos. He's got 2 nades in hand. There's no utility on the side of PUBGM Evos so far, but that might change once they start to loot some of these crates that surround and litter the battlefield. No meds available for Misery other than those stims available for him. Might go for a quick scout in the vehicle. So far this game, Luxy is absolutely putting some mega work for them. 5 eliminations so far. First initial nade sent out. After that, there is another sent over the top. A little bit of damage found, but not a lot.
Yeah, there isn't going to be too much we can really set the stage for on this one, unless somehow he was able to flip the script entirely and pull off the 1v3. That's the situation he's left himself in. So likelihood low, but potential reward very, very high here for Alliance. Just crawling his way around through the reeds right now, staying down in the ground. Luxy is jumping around, trying to get info on this, just wants to spot where exactly he is. They're playing a more fragmented system, just looking for the trade. There's the contact, it seems. Bullets being spammed into the smoke. So just a bit of a pre-fire rather than actually locating where he is just yet. Longevity on this one being played out though, Blank. Fair play to him. You've got the time to work with. You want to make it as awkward as possible. See what he can get done here.
Yeah, I mean, the mistake was made way early, and this should definitely be a PUBGM Evos win. But the thing is as soon as you see the teams go down to 2 and the amount of knocks that came through on the elimination field, Olio should just be sending in, looking for elimination points where he can. Does find a little bit of damage to start things off, but that'll be all it is as Redface finishes him off in a 21-point game there for PUBGM Evos, which will make them feel a lot more secure in their standing, right? But yeah, I definitely think that Olio could have got, you know, at least 2 elims off the back of that if he just tried to flush 2 of the players, maybe even a chicken dinner. If he just went sooner, I think, it's like I said, as soon as you see those knocks in the elimination feed, as soon as you see it drop down to 2 teams remaining, you just fly in. You just fly in because the result is the same either way.
No, it's very true, right? There is no worse outcome. There's nothing that's going to result in you getting less points. You're not going to be forced into a third out of nowhere. I agree with you, man. As much as it's one thing where he didn't have the full situation, we obviously have a little bit more information. Going into a fight like that where they've just had that final fight, no matter what, HP is going to be low. He was basically in a 1v1 with a half HP player, but obviously didn't have the chops on him to go for it. You can see the excitement here, though. Evos looking very vocal. Luxy telling the stories from that one as they relay some of the plays they just made. Fair play, though, for what it was, Blank. Procedure Evos playing a great game there. Had a good setup early. They were confident in the way they wanted to take the compound and played it smart. So you do love to see that.
Yeah, it's awesome to see Luxy topping the tails in terms of damage and eliminations there. I mean, a well-revered player within PUBG Mobile esports, just fell off massively over the past couple of years, but it looks like he has really put in the work and he's returning to form, honestly. It's amazing to see, because it really was that Luxy sort of was overshadowed by the likes of Ryzen and as well as Zuxi back on BTR. But look at this. Luxy's really making a stand, so he's constantly pressuring the issue, constantly trying to push for those big heights in the future, which is amazing. I'm really, really glad to see it. Again, UDO Alliance, a little bit of a throw at the end there, a little bit of a throw from Procedure Evos. They could have lost the 2 players there from FaZe, but just like Luxy, let's get back to basics with the desk.
That's right, Procedure Evos getting themselves the victory here off the back of this. We lost Jason for just a little minute, but we will hold down the fort just as Procedure Evos held down Gas Station. Looking fantastic whilst doing it here, Max.
Yep, and able to weather the storm with 2 teams pushing on their location, right, Kalaris? You had, of course, Hyper going downhill across the road, trying to go for the engage, which, of course, you are in this location. It's very easy to abuse with that third-person perspective. You can just jump, chuck the nades, get the easiest eliminations in the world onto Hyper, but then FaZe trying to go for a third party, and I really thought that was going to be the end of Procedure Evos, but it's down to Misery. He's able to clutch it up, go for the res, and get rid of the final player of UDO Alliance. That is how you hold down a position like that. You just make sure you can use those walls to its full potential, and that's 21 points here to start off this match.
Absolutely. Oftentimes we see the gas station as having a little bit of a vulnerability, right? Because there is that small little gap underneath the walls. However, they did a great job of zoning people away from even having angles on that little gap. And then, as you say, blasting them with the nades as they came close. So 21 points go their way. NASA, for the most part, we thought might have a grasp on gas station, kind of moved a little bit to the east, but eventually just started blasting everything anyway for those south rotates. So I mean, it's a really big game for them as well.
I think it was J7 that was in the warehouse, and they had this not in the warehouse, in the gas station, and they had this massive 4-man split, and I thought, okay, they're going to wait for the next circle, and based on where it goes, they're going to regroup normally in what I thought at the time was going to be gas station, but no, they regrouped to the eastern side, then wrap around the southern side of the river to fight Inco, which I was a bit surprised by that, Kalaris. I didn't expect them to do that. They just completely obliterate Inco. Then third-party reject that were fighting Duxan come out on top of that to get then, as you saw, 9 eliminations. It's the craziest way to get to that point, but I mean, the eliminations showed up, so I can't argue too much. They got the points they needed in this match.
No, indeed. Them alongside Xavier as well, with the amount of elims that they were able to garner. Very important for their campaign across what is only 2 days of gameplay, with also UDO Alliance kind of making what I would say almost a surprise entry when it comes to the upper echelons of this game. Not necessarily because of the circle and how things were playing out, but they were in a very wide split to start things off, Mac, for UDO Alliance. And then I think when it gets down to that 4v1, 3v1 scenario at the end, it's very difficult for him to make that call to try and crest the hill, right? Considering the elimination feed and how it all works out.
Exactly. You just have a big lack of information. It's like, did the entire team get flushed out? Is there just one 3-man team remaining? Is it going to be like a bunch of solos? We're just not quite sure at that point. So let's not take the risk. Let's try and survive to try and just secure second place. So I do get the idea. If he did know that was a misplay, but I just, as you said, I don't think he had the information that it was a full squad. So if he did know, then unfortunately it could have been the good time to strike, but it was still a second place. So a good match, and currently the best match for UDO Alliance.
Hello, Jason.
I was actually just doing my impression of Gladiators that game, just not being here. I don't know. That's a little mean. But I think the game though was mostly just about the teams who desperately needed to get some points under their belt, getting those points under their belt. You guys already talked about Besieja. Obviously, this is their last day of play as well, so they really have to rack up as much as possible to build that buffer. UD Alliance, this is the first time they are playing, so they can get some steam going here as they go on forward into this one. And Nazir, which, I mean, 9 eliminations. That's a good start. I think for me, for a team like that, it's a confidence booster. It's to show them that, okay, we can compete against these teams, even though we might have been struggling the first couple of matches, but where can they go from here? And obviously, we still have that one Erangel left to come today. Gladiators, yeah, going out early, but again, they should be relatively safe. Alter Ego, not really much to say about them either. If you had anything to chime in with Kolaris, but
I mean,
not gonna
honestly,
force you.
I mean, as you're saying for Nasser, I like their decision making to just start sweeping and start eliminating. Like, if you think about giving up a gas station location, yes, you could sit on the edge, on the east edge of that circle and just slowly creep up to that. Maybe you'd have to kind of have a bit of a skirmish with the remaining members of Alliance, kind of north of you, as they're also wanting to be approaching from that similar angle. Maybe you lose people out on that, but they decided, no, let's take that south side, which is covered a little bit more by, you know, the terrain as a whole, and actually take some really good skirmishes. So I'm impressed from that game.
I agree.
Well, we'll see if they can maintain any sort of momentum though going into the next match here. Let's go back to our casters, to Jack Gimbley.
Thanks, Jason. I know, man. It's a treat blank, right? With the way that the games have been going so far today, they just keep delivering. We keep getting some real moments of excitement. So honestly, I'm just kind of living for it, man. This is a good time to be enjoying the survival stage from a safe position, anyway, right? If we're in the games, different story. But watching them, I'm having a field day.
Absolutely. I love that, you know, Jason is so excited that he went slow-mo for that throw. That was amazing. Beautiful stuff. We got the hands up. Everyone wants to speak to the teacher, apparently. Tulika doesn't know what's going on. That's fine. Zerich is slamming down. What a weird scenario that was. Okay. I do think... Yeah, it's like 2 boys in the back, like, we're just here. Zerich and Tulika doing everything. Zerich is like, another rotation gone wrong again. But to be fair to the Mad Bulls, I think honestly Tulika probably is a little bit stressed because he has done so much work for them. I think he's really, really doing well for the team, and they should be very, very pleased with his results because I think he's come a long, long way in the year he's been playing with the Mad Bulls. It used to be a case that he was a bit of a loose cannon on the team, always going a little bit too far away from them, but he plays much more as a good teammate now, supporting Zerich and being a great frontliner without getting too aggressive. So I've been very, very excited to see the development coming through from Tulika in particular.
He's looking good, man. He really is. And I think, you know, it's interesting because this entire Mad Bulls roster can definitely deliver at times. And we've always kind of set that precedent that they are very exciting to watch. They are very explosive. It just wasn't super consistent, was I think the problem with it. Whereas now, at least into survival stage, it kind of seems like something has clicked and they've realized, you know, we really need to make sure that we're the ones making our own future for ourselves. So we're free chicken dinners already under the belt, which by and large, you know, that's no easy feat. They've definitely had to put the work in. That's over the space of the 2 days as well. And we're only really, you know, a handful of games in today. We still have this last Erangel and then 2 Miramars as well. So anything else Mad Bulls can find on the day, they're going to be happy with. We'll see, though, as we are getting back into it. Third and final Erangel then. So any chance for some last-minute shenanigans? We'll see if they'll be coming out.
Yeah, I mean, for some of these teams, you might want to go for a hot drop potentially. It's the last map of the day, so it's one where you could pull out some secret sauce moves on the Erangel match, especially with Group Green, this being their final match of Erangel they will be playing, so they could surprise some of these teams. Maybe. We'll see what happens if they just keep it basic, though. I think a lot of these teams are kind of really leaning into consistency more than anything at this point in time, realizing that, look, it's not easy to pick up these points, and I think for us, it's just a better idea that we just keep things going the way they wanted to. But Zerich actually drops over towards Nasa, but I think this is more of a case of this playing path causing this more than anything. But this is going to be difficult, particularly with the fact that a lot of the Mad Bulls are not in close contention. Luckily, they've got 2 shotguns, which are going to be extremely useful in this close range combat that they're going to get themselves into very shortly.
It looks so terrifying watching a man in a raincoat with a blade just crouching around the corner blank. It's very horror movie-esque, but it's not October anymore. It's November, so we're getting closer towards the Christmassy season. I imagine we'll see some gifts being given out inside of the compound, most likely being bullets, though, with those shotguns. Seems like the phones are going down, and there probably has been a technical issue, so we're going to need a rehost on this bad boy, so cut short. Not going to be seeing any shenanigans on this one. We'll relive it, get things sorted, and then get people back in for another test on the old Erangel.
I do like that, you know, it sort of felt like Mad Balls stopped that match. They were like, we're in a horrible situation, guys. Can we just get a rehost? Come on, man.
We shut it down.
Yeah, we shut it down. I mean, I think most teams, considering how quickly we got that rematch as well, down, slam of the desk, considering how quickly we got that rematch going through as well, most teams would be pretty pleased with how that one worked out, considering how horrible that playing path was, right? Not easy to work through with.
Yeah. No, exactly. Honestly, unless we roll the dice and end up getting a critical fail again, right? It should be better. It should be better than that for most of the squads in terms of easy routes to your common drop spots. So hopefully won't be all doom and gloom for them, and it shouldn't take too long to get things sorted out and straight back in. Nice seeing some of our players on screen as well today, Blank. You know, there's not been a lot of time with the player cams today, and it does give us a bit more of an insight into how some of the teams are looking. That sort of human element. Oh, hello, I say human. We've got man them Sith Lord over here.
I know. Maku just in the dark right now.
Look at him.
Yeah, very spooky.
I have the power to win any chicken dinner, no matter the length of time in the survival stage.
Oh, dear me.
Unlimited points on the last day.
That's what they need. That's what they need at the end of the day. I mean, realistically, we need to start getting some of these points going. And if you need to become the Sith Lord, you need to start shooting out some bolts of lightning from your fingers to get it done. All respect to Meku, realistically.
Hey, I'll give it to him, man. It's a good look. Honestly, it's a good look. This is nice, though. I have missed this. You know, even seeing Quest on screen, man. You know, Al Haji, the man is just so emotive as well. Kind of wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit. So it's nice sort of getting a glimpse with the camp of Quest, seeing how they're looking. Obviously, rough day for them. Rough span of days, really. But still looking like at least the mental fortitude is there. A little bit of frustration, maybe bubbling to a boil. But that could be used to their edge. The FaZe cam now on screens as well. And damn, we got the stats to back it up as well. FaZe not actually having a bad day of it, to be honest, Blank.
Yeah, I think for FaZe, it's been pretty decent. I think we got the dance moves from Mela earlier on, and now we're coming back for some more. Oh, okay. I thought I was going in a different direction. We got the love heart instead. That's great. Thank you very much. For FaZe, honestly, that last game was really, really cool. I enjoyed the fact that we saw the almost 2v4 coming through. They looked pretty strong with it. There's definitely some strong players on that team. Melo and Vintoras, really, really long-standing players within the scene as well. PUBG Mobile, they've done some really good stuff in the past. We got Enigma Galaxy on screen at the moment. A team that's just kind of struggled, right? And I think that one of their major issues, they don't find enough vehicles, which feels like, you know, it feels like you're failing at the first aspect of PUBG Mobile. And that feels bad to say because I know they're a good team, but that's like rule number one, right? Just get some vehicles on the drop, go from there.
Look, the way to word it in a friendly manner is they've been very cost efficient on fuel today. They've been using the you know, what's it, the carpool lane.
Yeah. It's not ideal, that's for sure.
It's definitely not.
I mean, we're trying to put olive oil in the tank right now. It's not working. Let's just get...
That's not going to work. That's not dinosaur juice.
Yeah, let's get some more vehicles. Let's get some more dinosaur juice from the ground. Let's pump it up and just get on moving, because 4 vehicles better than 1 vehicle. I don't feel like I need to say that on PMGC, but there you go. But 20 seconds before we get back into our 4th match of the day. Bit odd because, again, with that playing path, no, calm down.
I do love the idea that they've not communicated this to Two Liquor at all. So he's just sat there like, why do they keep putting their hands
What's going on? They're all becoming mannequins at this point in time. We don't exist. These are just stand-in dolls for Naomi as well as Frozen.
Right then. Well, let's get our seatbelts snapped in as it's time to go back to Erangel. Last game of the day today for this map. Following this, we get the back-to-back Miramar. So a bit of a change of pace there, a bit of a change of scenery that will be just around the corner. Who's getting that last chicken dinner on Erangel, though? And how's this game going to go? Let's find out. Playing path, a little bit nicer.
Yeah, way nicer actually on this one, because I think whenever you get that playing path that moves down slope right on the edge of the map, you're given so many limited options, especially forcing a lot of teams to drop over towards the Sosnovka military base as well. And if you do want to get towards one of your original drop spots, you sort of have to drop toward that middle third of the playing path, which means that more than likely you're going to run into at least another 10 other teams trying to do the same thing alongside with you. So picking up some of those trash drops, trying to pick up those vehicles, going to get very hairy indeed. So with this playing path, you're going to have a lot more room to drop out when you want to, and kind of spread yourselves across the map. Even though it is far off towards the western side, a lot of teams will be much more pleased on their approach. Nacer dropping over towards Rozhok right now alongside with the Mad Bulls. I don't think they'll be dropping right on top of them potentially, but we'll wait and see. We get another circle very similar to our last one on our angle up towards that northern side of the map.
Okay then. A little bit of water on that boy for now, but it won't matter too much. Early doors, looking at some of the spots though, just seeing if there's going to be any shenanigans here for our last Erangel. We've seen a couple of hot drops sprinkled in for good measure today, but nothing overly audacious here. The only close proximity we really see is on screens now, with Mad Bulls a couple of miles away, especially with the move that's coming in, different trajectories for the rotations. Well, you can't be doing that. If you look directly at the sunblank, it's quite bad for your eyes.
He's got a blue light filter on the red dot, don't worry.
No, he's okay.
He's all good.
I was worried there for a second. His retinas would be taking damage, Blank.
Oh, absolutely. Won't be able to see for the rest of the game. Just have like the smallest pinpoint of vision towards the center.
Just really realistic PUBG Mobile. Yeah, I've looked at the sun. And
I can no longer see. It's not good. Can we get a rematch, please? Rehost.
I've been flashbanged by the big orb.
What is big orb in the sky? I do not understand.
Where has this come from?
Who is he? Yeah, it doesn't
Be like the
oh my God,
bear in the
stop it.
big blue house, mate.
Yeah.
You know?
We'll have to
Say hello
explain
the
what the sun is. Well, everybody. No, I'm only joking. But we are going to head over towards the northern side for the time being. NBE Sports, I don't think they've done too badly at all. Akaze's kind of been like the main driving force of the team, though, right?
Yeah.
Hitting some really, really good shots recently, but again, some of their rotates feel just a little bit lacking, you know, getting caught on the edge side quite a few times, which doesn't feel great for them as a team, because I do think that when this team is put under pressure, some of their rotations to try and extricate themselves from those positions become a little bit haphazard. I think they've been fortunate on some of these other games where, for instance, they had an opportunity on that last match to escape and they zoomed in over towards Inco and immediately got put down by them. But that could have been a much better fight if it wasn't the fact that Becker just withstood the force of a vehicle going 60 miles per hour. Doesn't make much sense to me. FaZe, though, immediately take a knock. Zifan will move up. Mormon has only got the shotgun, but a great drop shot there will take down Shifan. A little bit of that greed being punished away there in the box compound.
So Mormon with the AK, slays from far away, throws the clip back in, as they will hit the DECK. Gets the res back off as well. Meanwhile, Car Chase City is the name of the game here, it seems. Ooh, contact from the side, though, baited in as they pulled into Quest's domain. And right now, they are ready to rumble. They assault onto the close range players. Ooh, good damage done onto the getaway vehicle as well, as Al Haji is throwing out the bullets. And they're chasing the Quest convoy hard on the tail, Blank, looking to see if they can actually fight this one back and chase him down.
I mean, they desperately need the points, right? And I mean, FSS is moving straight up towards the top side of Everest, trying to escape as quick as he can. Get his level 3 in hiking done here. Fahidan sends towards that top side, just tries to spot for him, but I don't think FFS is going to be in this situation for too long at all. Al-Haji will just be medkitting away, gets himself back up to full HP here. But FaZe, I think they did a pretty decent job to sort of resume operations after taking that initial knock there from Jifan. And it will be N-Hyper who really does suffer the consequences of getting too aggressive in this location, dropping down to just 2 players now.
DX on screens here, getting the looting done. DX been a little bit less uncontested in terms of fighting for common drop spots. They've been willing to actually mold themselves into less common drops or work around some of our other teams. That's something that we are now seeing from them, which was quite uncharacteristic of what they were doing game in, game out, at least back during the regulation part of the group stage with the full group green. So shows at least some smart adjustments for them there. FS did at least get away. He's been able to run down and avoid Quest's onslaught.
Yeah.
But what have you really got left, man? The entire team off the back of that was basically split in half, right? Like, sure, they're still alive, but you're down to just 2 with low HP and not really much to work with in terms of the early loot either. You haven't had a chance to kind of pick anything clean. So rough start for them, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't even think FS even knows where he's going at this point in time. Sends up towards Zaki, of all places. Enigma Galaxy make their way in towards Rozhok. I think this is a bit of a lion's den that you don't really want to get into too early on. Easy gets taken down by FaZe, who pick themselves up yet another point on the match here. Quest tries to come in for a little bit of retribution. Al-Haji spots out, but Onzen's very ready for the same peak again. Doesn't try to go for anything fancy here, and Quest realizes it's probably just a good idea to bail out this one. Gladiators up towards the northern edge of Georgia Pod, still looting. They've got a lot of time ahead of them to make this one happen. A lot of teams did shift themselves over towards the eastern side of the map, so a lot of this western edge is quite free, and a lot of the infighting that has happened between FaZe and Hyper as well as Quest. A lot of these teams haven't made their initial rotates yet. Zerich spots onto Ralph from Enigma Galaxy. You got Freak on the side here, but Zerich is very quick with it, in and out of cover like a shot here.
Trying to hard commit and does pick it up, landing the follow-up shot. Ooh, quick pre-fire as well. So Zerich was paranoid about the peak there, coming around the corner a little bit quicker than he had anticipated for. Does go fast on the chase, but already with the engine purring, they're just trying to get away and avoid just losing most of their stock here in the Mad Bulls territory. So give up the fight on that one. We get a cameo from Reject Tokyo as well. They seem to have done a good job of finding themselves 4 vehicles to work with. So rotates now going to be a bit of an easier piece of the puzzle for them. And they're also heading over towards Rozhok. So you do have a potential here where you're going to have quite a few close grouped squads actually, especially with Nassar pushing further down. They might actually get a bit of a read on this one. So room to breathe. Big split for them as well, actually. Basically running a buddy system of 2 players apiece. On the bridge cam to the left, you can see Rosemary as well, starting to inflict some damage towards FaZe. That's another hot spot. In terms of the heat map there, Gladiators towards the top, just above Quest. Quest that seem to be edging closer towards FaZe after hearing the dinner bell being rung.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of teams that had a lot of these engagements happening earlier, right, Jackie? And they decided that, you know, they're not going to move across the bridges. They're going to get stuck in over towards this ridge side on the western edge. And I think that has made for a very interesting western side of the circle, with a lot of these teams opting just not to push forward. Quest, I think that was a rundown over towards Alter Ego that was found there after they took a couple of pot shots. Lufa looks over towards Tulica, will find the initial shot on the DBS, backing off just slightly, now looking for Zerich, who is holding his own as best as he can here.
Oh, felt like that one was a little bit sloppy to get the final pickup there in the end, but they're still fighting for it, still looking to close things out. Frozen, fragmented from the rest of the squad, peeks out through the smoke. Ooh, look at the nade lineup on that as well. Couple seconds slower on the getaway, and he could have been eating that nade. Would have absolutely ruined him. Luckily, Mad Balls will still hold on with just one man, Frozen, the ice-cold assassin that had to let it go on that one, as he'll back off and tuck into a better angle. Meanwhile, Lord puts some bullets down range as well, just keeping the pressure on. So Rejects in the thick of it now, with players surrounding them from most angles here. Coops does fall back after at least playing his initial card, going to the compound to play off his team.
Yeah, it's actually a really strong spot that Rejects able to pick themselves up there. I mean, it's not an easy one to immediately take control of. Alva looks over towards Quest, will find two of them, immediately sprays both of them down. It will just be the one player left remaining now for Quest in Fahidan. Our Alter Ego desperately needed those points as well, up to 4 now total. And I think for them, currently in 9th place, 36 points. That takes them to 40. So they're not in the worst spot in the world, but it's not great either. Let's put it that way. I think for Nigma Galaxy, on the other hand, still need to get some more points on today, realistically. Hyper currently at 10 points total, 0 points on the game. There's a couple of these teams from Group Red that really do need to get a move on at this point in time. But this is one of the more infighty lobbies we've seen throughout the entirety of the survival stage. Yesterday was just quite dominant. A lot of smart maneuvers going around. This is very scrappy, I would say, in terms of the fighting that's been going on.
Yeah, that does sum it up pretty accurately. It's been a very, very scrappy affair. Close quarters combat being the aggressive maneuver here from Alter Ego. Kicking the doors, running on in, and finding the pickups with both barrels there. Stereo connection onto Quest. So they're taken down. Gladiators are close by, close enough that maybe their ears are perking up and thinking about the potential, but they might have their heads a bit more screwed on, thinking about the longevity of the game here, rather than trying to get involved with potential dribs and drabs of Elim points. Reject Tokyo still looking like they've got confidence as well. They've got a good setup in terms of the position, but they haven't really cascaded back. They've still been controlling the outer ridge here towards the hillside after not wanting to give it up when Mad Balls pushed in and applied a bit of pressure onto them, trying to keep control of the land they've found. Lord seems to have taken a bullet to the back of the head there, though, so down on his last legs for the meantime. Quick head count of our squads. You can see that a fair few of them have already lost players, so the battle of attrition has been going on in the background. The only actual squad wipe we've seen, though, was Quest.
Yeah, it's been a sort of a difficult game for a lot of teams where they've just been taking a couple of fights here and there, trying to escape from it. And you can tell that's kind of the survival stage mentality of a lot of these teams, that you start to lose an engagement. Right, that's it. We'll just leave it alone. Let's get out of here as quickly as possible. And Hyper's initial fight went horribly, horribly wrong, really pear-shaped in that sense. But for Reject, they picked themselves out a very strong spot. And you're right, they're holding on the outside edge. They've realized that the 3-story gives them a lot of strength in terms of being able to spot out teams and take some shots across the way, try to weaken some of these squads, potentially even get a flush. But leaving this position also is a little bit rough for yourself, because you are surrounded by some compounds that can quite easily cut off your disengages. So for Regiosio, probably one of the smarter players, I would say, to leave on the outside edge. Really, really strong individual player in of his own right. Can get away with maybe a quick knock and then a retreat back to the rest of the team. So I like this play from Reject so far. It's looking strong. FaZe, though, do find one of the players in Kitsune there. I think that's a bit of a misstep coming through from the Gladiators. They should have known there might be more teams coming through on this area, and just allowing Mela to immediately pick himself up a quick and cheeky flush on towards them. Their gatekeep gets shut down almost immediately.
Guarding the edge here, though. Meku with the full wide berth on the rotate, trying to get as far back as he can. There is still a play to be made, though, inside of the blue. If you could assist Mela, you could still put pressure on Meku and force him to give up the aggression on this one. He was just looking for a read, and the information play does still stay alive with his hands firmly on the wheel, so he's happy to at least be breathing on this one. Alter Ego are relatively close as well, with even a slight push there, just looking for a read themselves, so assessing what exactly was going on ahead of them. Meanwhile, Melisse looking to try and make their move over the bridge at some point here, with the zone pushing further in and actually setting itself up in a relatively good spot for Evos once again as well. Melisse, though, will have to fight tooth and nail for this, and they go for the brutish approach, sending the vehicle in with Kishu just driving his way through straight away. We'll put a pin in that, though, as there's a fight going on, and FaZe are fragging blank. They found their way through all of the gladiators in seconds there.
Mate, again, this is Mela just absolutely killing it today. And I mean, we saw that on that last game, almost the 2v4 versus Pasija Evos. And Mela once again shows us he can do it just as easily in the mid game as he can in the late game. So really, really heads up play there coming through from Mela. I don't know how that just occurred, but with the DBS, that guy is absolutely kingly, and I think that's going to bring Gladiators back down to earth once again. Maybe one or two more good games for them to see them feeling a little bit safer into the lobby at the end of the day. 59 points, it's pretty decent, and with the amount of teams that are currently sat down towards 18, 17 points total, there's a chance for this team. There's still a chance, but that does not look promising. For FaZe, on the other hand, they've had some pretty cool standouts today. Not always been able to get all their players towards that end game, but, you know, at least some eliminations every single time. They're already up to 30 points on their first day. It's good to see.
It is nice for them. Big game. Even if they go out now, you've still been able to achieve a lot in terms of the elims and the other chicken dinners they've taken. More to be done for FaZe as well, of course, as you know, this isn't the end of their run. They'll still have tomorrow to come back out swinging up against Group Yellow and see what they can do there. Fight continues on now, though, with Frozen being really close in terms of the positioning. You were thinking maybe there was chance for the fight there. We'll join that again, though, once things kick off. For now, you've got the rotate on screens, and Melisse still trying to make their move. Trapped under the bridge here, as CEO later wants them to pay the toll. He is trying to defend this, it seems. DBS in the hands. Close quarters engagement up against the SMG, just peppered instantly. Overwhelmed there and crumbles because of it. So the remaining members of Melisse are expired, and Inco could potentially third party from there. Had a read on the hill, but don't aggress down.
Yeah, for Inco, it's a little bit of a difficult scenario for them, but they're able to hold on to it. Not bad at all. DXAV continue on. I think this has been one of the more consistent teams from our lobby so far. Inco moving over towards NASA, over towards Spec at the moment. A little bit of a difficult position to be playing in. Doesn't really have the support of his teammates, but a nice first initial spray down. Everyone's just trying to get the DBSs on the roof, but he doesn't care. The Vector will do the trick.
Oh, he cuts his way through the first. Looking to re-aggress here as well. Bullets going down, detonations inside of the building. Xenox looking for the wide swing, close up through the window, spots another Inco man, but he's been punished from the side himself. Down on the floor now. Spec as well, eats the nade. Perfect bounce on that. Beautiful use of the angle as it ricochets off of the wall and takes the man down. Both of them playing medic, looking to get the reses in and reset on the fight. Doors wide open, head taken clean off as Squash, he goes out of the situation. Star comes sprinting in, and this fight keeps on going.
Mate, there's no point did it occur to Spec to just use the first aid kit in his inventory at all. Like, what was he doing jumping down with 10 HP? It didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And with that, Nenabetse might be able to finish up a lot of these players coming through from NASA. A total misplay, in my opinion, from what was an incredible opening fight there from Spec himself. Nenabetse is able to clutch this out. It's basically all down to the fact that you just don't use the utility that's on side. There was more than enough time and chance to use it. Just the aggression there was a little bit silly, in my opinion. Reject still pushing onwards, currently up to 34 points, 37 if you add the eliminations on. And I think, you know what, they've had a decent day today. They've been really trying to hit those numbers where they can. They understand that time is wearing thin for them too.
And the gap between DX is closing as well. Similar sort of story for Rejects, it seems, as they go for the swoop in and look to command respect here in the compound clash. Sarah, the bicep man, hits the first as Link goes down. Lufa again aggresses onto Misery, and one by one, Evos are becoming extinct as they are falling out of the server quite quickly. Luxy, though, wants to try and save face. Nades thrown in. Nice tag on at the first. Has the DBS as well. He could clean out the building here, Blank, if he can find his way in. Nice nade to at least defend. Smoke canisters go up as well. Blocks the pathing and the eye line, but could be exposed to Coops and Co from the back. So Rejects have taken command of the gas station for now.
That was definitely a deluxe grenade if I've ever seen one. Nade over the top from Regiosio. Bounces, actually just airburst a bit too early there for him. Looks to send another one over the top. Has a general idea of where he is. Great nade from Regiosio. Will finish it off, and Pasija Evos goes down. Now remember, this is the position where Pasija Evos won the game from last match. And I think for Reject, they understand that. They're like, look, we'll take it off your hands, no problem. Quick push in, picks up a lot of eliminations off the back of some really nice shots for the DBS. And that's confidence we wanted to see from Reject a lot earlier on. For Udo Alliance, it's starting to get a bit better for them each and every single game. You know, their averages aren't looking too bad at all. Currently 5 points per game. Yes, it's not championship level of averages, but for some other teams who really have not done that at all, I would say this is a promising start for Udo Alliance.
They've not been looking too bad in some of the fights they've been able to find themselves in today. We've seen some smart decision making, even at least keeping games going when they're low in terms of stock, low in terms of manpower. So Udo Alliance, pretty good job of at least being a thorn in the side of some other teams. What can they get done here, though? In potentially a position where, you know, there is a chance you could chalk this one up as a W, as a chicken dinner, if you play your cards correctly. Frozen, still just trying to keep his attention drawn in the direction of Reject Tokyo. Rejects that are now getting themselves situated inside of the vehicles, driving seats at the ready, and start to set their focus on the new zone. Everyone's going to want to move their way further forward now. Udo Alliance with a good spread of it as well. They'll have nice control to work off of. Meanwhile, MBE, Sec on the snipe with a Mini 14, firing off the warning shots, makes his presence known, but no actual connection. And he has given an inkling across to Udo as well of his position now.
Yeah, Cluck here off in the distance. Your Udo Alliance currently at those 5 eliminations found so far on this map. Could you go even a little bit further? You're talking about before Sec on that Mini 14, hitting some nice shots. Nedabete in the meantime takes his chances on the rotate while everyone is a little bit distracted. Will be able to get himself to fairly defensible position as well over on this side. MBE Sports off in the distance, very, very close to him. Udo Alliance is trying to take him down, but it is Olio to spot that one out. Once again, we see Udo Alliance in this situation where they potentially can take the chicken dinner on this game. They came second on that last match. So far, some very nice little averages on our angle. Reject will send in over towards Coops, last player remaining. Good initial grenade, but just overwhelming force here from Reject.
They just swoop in like an aggressive seagull at the boardwalk, just wanting to steal away their set of chips. And they take that one down instantly. Udo Alliance, they've got a good spread for it, good setup in terms of the positioning to maybe get a few shots off here onto Reject Tokyo. And they're the ones that want a gun for the longevity on this. Both squads with 4 players alive. For Mapples, it is just Frozen. And keep in mind, Frozen's team, they were picked off by Rejects quite some time ago. He was hoping to get revenge, but he'll find nothing for his troubles as you do connect onto him and they dispatch the Bulls. Seeing red now as we fall to our final 3 squads. Hey, look at the damage being inflicted here as well, Blank. Softening them up now. Confidence is there. This could be where they start to rev their engines for the dive.
Yeah, looking to move in towards it. And I like this spread coming through from Udo Alliance. So aggressive. The distance, though, Sarah is able to pick up one from MBE Sports. They have to immediately get on that res there if they want to get something done off the back of it. They might just send in over towards MBE Sports as well, claim a little bit more space. Cluck also getting involved, realizing that MBE Sports looks a little bit weakened off the back of that one. Olio with this position on top of the rooftops is so unbelievably strong strong though, Jackie. Gives them so much advantage coming into the future. Reject were able to get a little bit further around, but more and more shots keep pouring over their way. MBE Sports with Mondo up front with one nade left remaining, but fully kitted out here with the MG3.
Quick looting, quick reset, shuffling. Everyone waiting for the right strike, the right moment to stick themselves into the action. The aggression works well for the first connection. Bullets downrange onto MBE, at least quelling their numbers for now, forcing one of the players into a knock and leaving them with a decision to make. No real quick move to get Modo back up, so you're probably going to have to give up the goose on him, fragmenting their numbers even more. And this setup from Udo is still looking so powerful. Every time there's a peak, they have the geometry to defend themselves while dealing damage. They've got setup, so if there is contact, someone else can help out as well. They could play for trades pretty efficiently from this, and all they've got to do is hold. Everyone else sitting on the edge of the rim as well, not wanting to push in yet. The zone will be the only part that could potentially throw a spanner in the works for them. But with how they're playing it at the minute blank, this is looking great for Alliance.
Yeah, pretty much this was one of the circles that Reject likely was hoping for as well, because Olio on this spot had to be pushed out of it before stage 8. Realistically, this is a very early way to end a game in stage 7, having 3 teams at stage 6, almost unheard of. This game was extremely quick in terms of play. For Reject though, they know they need to get further into the circle. They need to regroup Regiosio as well as Sara, but this circle does assist them. Getting Olio off from that rooftop gives them a much more even chance here, much more even footing. The fact that he's able to take pot shots downwards provides so much information all the time towards the rest of his teammates is causing so much problems. He's finally off it now, and Reject might be starting to think about when they want to move off towards the rest of their squad.
Lufa hearing the sniper shots whizzing by him. Ooh, it looked like his days were numbered, but the team defends as they assist their mate. A few pot shots back over. That's Reginosio, who's just taking the peek from behind the tree, hoping that he can, if not deal damage, at least start to dent the confidence. So Udo Alliance can't peek into this so easily. They've still got such a good setup though, and this could be absolutely fantastic. They thought they had the lineup with a nade. No real response to it though. Not actually turning onto this one. They just leave themselves laying there in the open. Can't really retaliate too easily, and they're just being farmed blank. The nades go in again for the easy cleanup, and they're taken out of commission. Wiped off the face of the battleground there, leaving it into the final fight then.
Yeah, 3v4 now. And I think for Udo Alliance, honestly, when you're in that situation and you are MBE Sports, you just have to hope that he only has 2 grenades and you can withstand 2. Unfortunately for them, Olio had been sent forward with a blinding 7 in the back pocket. The circle moves over towards the north side, and Reject's going to have to play a very, very tough game. They've got no more smokes remaining either, so getting up will require them to get at least a knock. Lufa's not able to make it happen. Now just 2 players left alive versus Udo's 4, and they're going to send in on the approach. Is this going to be their downfall, or will this be where they win? Olio continues to send in some massive nades. He's been so important this entire game. The nade goes off, Reject will go out, and Udo Alliance, despite only getting the second that last game, Olio not going in for the 1v1 definitely makes up for things here on this Arangle.
You do take those wins, blank, as they're pulling off another one. Coming out swinging here. You're going to be happy with that. You're going to be in a position now where things are looking a lot better already. They were a team that today looked like they were kind of nipping at heels and at least keeping themselves in a good position. Now it actually seems comparable to think, you know, if they could maintain this blank for their day 2 tomorrow as well, alongside potentially the next 2 games we have coming up, then Alliance are actually in a much better position than it felt like potentially they were going to be coming into this. They're looking good in the survival stage right now, taking to it quite comfortably.
Yeah, it's a really nice jump up from them as well off the back of that game. I mean, Olio, again, 1,088 damage done, only 84 damage received. I think their setup on that was very nice as well. Or towards that northern side, they had, I think it was Iftar or maybe Flax, who was up close, just holding out MBE Sports that entire time. I think they had really good control over both Reject and MBE Sports, not allowing either of those teams any breathing room whatsoever. And that came with an aggressive hold, right? You know, they had to have the big split going there in the end game. But yeah, really impressive from UDO Alliance. And I think Olio will be certainly pleased, because sort of gave himself up a chicken dinner last game, even though he didn't know it. This time around, definitely secures that chicken dinner. In the meantime, secure your seatbelts, because we're heading back over to the desk.
All right, seatbelts are secured here. I don't know what sound that was, but we are back with UDO Alliance. Get themselves a big victory, honestly, and a pretty needed victory. We have to keep in mind that during this entire day, this is technically the easiest group for Group Red to go up against, considering the point discrepancy we heard from Max at the start of the day between yellow and green. So they need to collect every single point they possibly can, and Olio this time kind of redeeming himself, as we heard the caster say from our prior match, Max.
Yeah, really happy with UDO Alliance getting himself that split. Of course, the circle not ending towards that kind of gas station location, so forcing teams like Reject to leave it. And when you have that 4-man split, pretty much, Jason, there's not much you can really do, and you're just very predictable behind that pylon. The moment you try and peek your head around the corner, you're going to get completely wrecked. So 24 points on this one for UDO Alliance. Great match, and also play with over 1,000 damage, Kalaris. That's really cool.
Yeah, wow. There you go. That's the sound for that one.
Thank you.
Even though we've not really properly seen it. Yeah, they were laughing together after that victory, because they were like, we've seen this circle before. And we got to adapt from the previous game whilst doing it. I mean, they were holding strong up in the north, right? Like, they controlled so much room with this to be able to then head south that I think they actually really did, no joke, take learnings from the previous game and apply them here.
I mean, they dropped Northern Stolber, right? No one is going to be on this game, in this lobby, stopping that kind of rotation. No one is in between their drop location and the spot where their game ends, so it's not going to be happening in 1,000 years. And yeah, Olio, sure, he was able to confirm that game earlier on match number 3, but here he's able to just survive with his team and get things done. So happy about that one, though. If I want to take the conversation another way, Kalaris, is Reject knew how strong this time around the Procedure Evo's gas station actually was. Like, how about we crash it just like 5 minutes earlier in this match and maybe win the game? Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, and they hit it with severity as well, right? Like, they absolutely barreled into that position and really gave Procedure no time to be able to react to said attack here. So for Reject, I love the decisive nature of that. I love just the very, very small window you're giving your opponents to be able to react to an assault oncoming here from the Japanese team.
Real quick, as we see in 21st place Quest, they have only 2 matches left to go before they're done in the entire survival stage. If they want to have any sort of chance, they have to come up big in these last 2 games. Otherwise, that's going to be one of our teams confirmed going to be out. But Enigma Galaxy, man, Max, 24th place. They have not been able to get anything going so far.
I think that Jackie and Blank were talking about it also during the games, and I did come up to that like kind of conclusion myself also, is that they're just struggling to get cars, and because of that, you're very vulnerable to teams that are going to be on your path to the circle, and that's just been happening so many times for Enigma Galaxy, losing Coops, losing Lord, losing Freak, and then you just don't have the players to really compete for that possible win. So yeah, they gotta get more cars. Really, it's as easy as that right now. I know I'm making it seem very easy, but if they get 2, 3 cars, 4 cars if possible, you're instantly taking way smaller risks while you're trying to get to a good POI in these circles.
I do want to give a special shout out to two different players that we haven't really touched on just yet. Spec from Nasser, coming in massive on top of that building when we saw Inko crash on top of him. Somehow with the Vector, he was able to just hold on. But then Nenebechi on the other side, able to close things out and save his team. Well, save himself at least, and get the wipe onto Nasser. That was just a really cool little battle between those 2 individual players.
Yeah, some good knocks from Nenebechi to kind of finish things off. And again, cooking grenades to be able to just throw them at the exact right time to really cause a lot of problems for his opponents here as he's trying.
Nenebechi was doing something that was very interesting, is he was faking nades also during this entire match. He was just like taking the pin out and actually just doing the audio cue, and that was kind of scaring the opposite side to go for the res, and because of that he was able to just make them linger as a solo and then win the fight. So it's very small details like that, but Nenebechi as an individual, we also saw it last year in PMGC, right, has the chops to be one of the best players in this lobby, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's great to see him as well come back into his own when we first saw him come into the scene back in B4 over like 2-3 years ago when I was actually working on it a little bit more consistently. But guys, we are going to be heading to a short break shortly, but before then, I'm going to remind you guys once again about the Infinix GT10 Pro. You guys can pick this up. It's born for professional esports players, and you guys can dominate the lobby while doing so. Not to mention, you can play in the new Frost Festival now out in PUBG Mobile. You guys can get into this frosty adventure, pick it up and play, and potentially create some snowmen yourself. We also do have the popular annual gala kicking off between the November 15th over till December 15th, where you guys can play in 10 1v1 matches, potentially get some exclusive rewards that you can show off for yourself. And while you're showing those off, you can show off your new Pagani as well with the Zonda R model coming to us and the Amola. You guys can run over your enemies, and hopefully for Nimba Galaxy's sake, they can pick some of these up and survive and stay alive and get into the later stages where they can potentially use their victory dance and show off that they are their own favorite team in PMGC. We're going to head to a short break while we get things ready to go for our first of 2 matches on Miramar, and we'll see you all in just a short few.
And we are moving into Miramar, 2 of them back to be precise, to finish off the second day of the survival stage. And Blank, it has been a bit of a journey we've already been on, mate. The Eren Girls, the initial Sandhawk as well, all of them have had a bit of a different flavour. I wonder what's going to be sort of, you know, the taste left in our mouths after these Miramar games.
Yeah, well, I mean, man, I don't know. It might be a sour taste, might be a bitter taste for some of these teams, might be a very sweet and delicious taste for some of these teams towards that top side, feeling very comfortable, feeling very safe. For Udo Alliance, that is a really comfortable game on that last one. I think that Max and Clive mentioned it. That, look, it was just the same circle from before, and they have a very easy and very nice little crossing down towards that position. And they essentially just played it how they would have wanted to play it that last time around. So really, really well done to both of them. And I think for, honestly, Reject, they'll be happy with a 3rd place on that one, a 2nd place on that one, get some good points on the board overall, which they desperately needed, right? And I think that consistently today, Reject's been doing pretty well. And I think tomorrow we'll see some of those teams from Group Red try and hit some higher numbers as well on that chase. Again, today we will be setting that benchmark, at least for some of those teams with Group Green leaving us. And I think that's the most important thing for a lot of these squads to be taking a look at the end of the day, is where that 16th place lies. Currently, it is with Malise Esports at 25 points.
Okay, then. What are things going to be looking like in terms of the points after this first Miramar? What drastic changes are we going to be seeing? All big questions that will have a large influence on the overall standings, but we'll find out as we kick it off. The plane has taken off and we're flying over Miramar. If you take a look out of your left window, you'll see water treatment. If you take a look out of your right window, you'll see power grid. Please keep your arms and legs inside of the plane at all time. Now I'll pass you over to your captain, Blank.
It is me, and also disregard that last comment about keeping your legs and arms in there playing at all times. At some point, we are going to be tossing you out because you're going to have to get into this match, gain yourself a couple of these points at the moment, because this is not a safe run from us. It's going to be quick, dirty, and it's going to be fierce going into this Miramar. This is our first of 2 before Group Green will end their run here in the survival stage and see just how many points that they have been able to put up and get in. Currently, Quest is one of the teams very much in danger at this point in time. Currently played 10 matches with a measly 17 points, currently in 21st place. It is going to take a gargantuan effort from them in these last 2 matches, and quite honestly, I just don't think it's possible, and this might be one of our first teams to be confirmed gone over in that bottom 8 of the lobby for the survival stage. They will not be making it through to last chance unless something absolutely insane can happen here on these last 2 Miramars, which I just don't think is going to happen.
No, it would have to be miraculous. Not quite sure if it'll be going that way. We did have Maxman coming in with the hot drop breakdown as well. He gave us a quick lay of the land of the potential positions and clashes that we could be seeing. DX versus MBEs was one of them in El Pozo, and then the other potential that doesn't seem like it's happened was FaZe versus Evos as well. Max has been taking a look over the VODs. So he had basically came to the description blank that we might be seeing those as the common drop spots. At least this time, it seems like some of the teams have got their heads screwed on and haven't wanted to run the risk of a hot drop this late into the day of competition, especially with some of them actually having a good day of it as well. Like for Evos, right? Running the risk of that, not going to be ideal. Not the best playing path for it either as well. So that's why we've avoided that one. But honestly, probably for the best, mate. These hot drops are getting a little bit too warm, blank. It's like being in a sauna, but you don't really want to be in there. You thought it was an ice room.
Yeah, it's currently 1 a.m. The janitor locked the door. You're stuck in there. They've turned off the lights. It's a horrible experience overall. You're sweating. You're not sure what's going to happen. You're just going to have to wait it out and move out of the old sauna in the morning looking a little bit mummified. But in the meantime, we'll keep you guys nice and cozy at least. And we'll be there with the keys in the morning around about 7 a.m. because I don't wake up too early. But looking at this plane, obviously it wasn't too great for either of those hot drops on this side of things. Difficult to get down towards Chumacera anyway, so a lot of teams had to go for something just a little bit different. On the cards here, we do have MBE spot up towards El Pozo. In the meantime, Gladiators playing towards their preferred drop spot in La Cobreria. They have been trying to switch things up just a little bit recently, moving further down towards his south side outside Hacienda del Patron. Certainly have done their homework though. Not really a possibility here versus Nassar, who are over towards water treatment in the first place. So that would cause them to be running into another team fairly early on. And I think for Gladiators, who haven't put up any points since that second game, sorry, currently on 59. I think they'd want to push this just a little bit higher in these final 2 matches. I think 80 points is a pretty happy finishing point for any team within this lobby, currently with Mad Bulls at 89 points total. Also, not the most amazing day for them, but they have put up some good points, right? I think yesterday just sort of overshadows the consistency that we're seeing today from them.
It's been an interesting day for it as well, man, because I think it's made it so hard to really, truly assess the situation. I don't even know by the end of today, Blank, if we'll have the best lay of the land of how things are going to look by the end of survival stage, because any sort of the theory we came into it with initially with, you know, kind of the idea of Group Green being the real big group of death that it was, that had so many top teams in it, translating into survival stage, felt like it kind of wasn't an accurate depiction of day one. Then now we're seeing some of them bubbling up towards the top. We're seeing a good test of some of the other teams now in the lobby for today as well. I think really by the end of tomorrow, you know, as silly as it is to say, is when we're actually going to truly understand just how tight this was, because it's been hard to call the whole way through. We've seen the standings definitely getting shaken the longer it has gone on. It's been a lot of impressive maneuvers from Brazil as a region as well throughout the course of the entirety of the tournament. Here at the minute, Inco, being the sole representative of Brazil inside of this lobby, haven't had the best day of it. Of course, they had to fight tooth and nail. Similar story to Quest, to barely make it here in the first place. I think the more surprising one as well is, you know, as we go deeper down towards the bottom, I'm kind of expecting a bit more from maybe your Duxan fans, maybe Amiga Galaxies as well, that just feel like there could have been a little bit more to be done. We've got one of them fighting here though, as they are going aggro, broken wall combat as they look to try and swoop on in. Bullets from behind the camper van, can't quite close the gap. Switch to the secondary. That one will kneecap, fights through the body as well, backed up by his teammates, and the pressure is on now.
Yeah, FS taking a huge amount of damage there on Hyper, and Duxan, like he said, yeah, really aren't giving up anything whatsoever. They're looking for more. FS will go down, and again, Zifan just has to send away as fast as possible. Hyper's really not been having a good tournament here at all in the survival stage, really struggling on every single drop at the start of the game. First couple of minutes just looking hellish for them. Zifan almost spinning out there on the vehicle as Vinny continues to pepper those shots across, gets a nice headshot, and Hoxie will finish off with one of his own. That's Hyper out with some beautiful gun skill coming through from Hoxie at the end there, and Duxan picks themselves up a juicy 4 points. Again, you were right, Duxan needs to do a little bit more at the bottom of the tables. That's a great start from them here on Miramar, and see them a little bit safer coming into the survival stage. Alter Ego, look, we didn't want to talk about the start today, but you know what? 41 points. It's not too bad, honestly. It's not too bad. They have certainly struggled, but they're struggling against the tide here, trying to get back to the safety of the beaches so they can sit up in those armchairs and just wait for this one comfortably to end without worrying about maybe being pushed out from that top 16. Obviously, only 2 more games to go, though, for Alter Ego. These are some really important matches for them as well, because by no means is 41 points safe at all.
Feels like nothing's a safe threshold anymore, man. It doesn't matter how much of a buffer you've got, Blank. I'd still be a bit scared. You never want to leave it up to someone else, right? So just trying to keep that consistent growth of points always going. Such a hard task, but something that needs to be done relatively consistently, game in, game out right now. You can see already with the posturing, a lot of these teams earlier on today, even yesterday, especially when there kind of wasn't a level playing field, there wasn't a point where you could see one team pulling ahead, they probably would have gone for a few more of these fights. At the minute, it's a bit more sheepish. Teams sort of fighting to warn off other squads. A lot of defensive gameplay at the minute, kind of turtling, trying to gain control of your lay of the land and force other teams to feel uncomfortable, rather than swooping in, kind of playing that very aggressive, guerrilla strong together mentality of just trying to overwhelm opposition by roaming as a pack, which was working earlier today. On Miramar, in this sort of situation, might not be the best call. One wrong fight could be the difference of you basically leaving yourself with no chances to get points today. For Group Green, that would mean no chances remaining over the course of the survival stage as well. So big pressure, big momentum shift needs to happen. Zone shift, though, is going to cause a bit of a cascade. Everyone wanted to get themselves into the center circle as quick as possible, but look at Mad Bulls miles away, taking a slow turn on things, wanting to just take their time with a rotate on this.
Yeah, slowing it down massively, and that's fair enough for the Mad Bulls. I think they want to just confirm some more consistent placements here in these final couple of games. They know that they've done a lot already in the lobby to see themselves pretty safe here. Like you said, it's very hard to say what is safe, honestly, at this point in time, because there could be a massive jump up from all 16 teams tomorrow in both Group Yellow and Group Red, but we'll see what happens. For Mad Bulls, I would say that they've done really, really well for both their region as well as themselves, getting themselves fairly decently confirmed towards that last chance. There is still more to be done in those 2 days following, but at least they get a break in between. For some of these other squads at the moment, there is some serious pressure on them. But Miramar, obviously one of those matches where you really want to keep all 4 players alive towards that end game, and a lot of teams are looking to pick up some central positions early on. Rejects still following that same mentality of picking up that central spot at the beginning of the game. They've done a great job to do it down towards this south side already. This will see them in a good position to pick up some more of those points. Yes, they're not picking up those big chicken dinners, but they are very much definitely in that top 3 a lot of the time now. So, I think they are another team that just felt the pressure from yesterday, weren't able to play comfortably, a little bit fidgety in their seats, but this time they are definitely playing much more how we saw in that group.